and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman as we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to today's show. Listen, when I say I'm going to be in rare form today, this video is comedy gold. All right, y'all. I'm hoping I can get through this video. So Gavin Newsom, you guys, he decided he was going to take a little field trip down to the Hello Fellow Black People section of the Democratic handbook. And baby, listen, y'all, this man didn't just miss the mark. This man moonwalked his behind off the stage and fell into the orchestra pit. Like he just kept going, even when it was clear that Leroy, you done messed up now. Because tell me, why did this man think that the best way to relate to the coloreds was to basically say, hey, I'm just like you. I'm slow as hell and I have a low IQ just like you guys. I mean, I have a 960 SAT score. I can't read. I can't read a speech. I sat in the back of the class with my head down. I'm like, sir, hold a minute. Wait, well, hold on. Pump the brakes. Who is you? I'm like, wait, speak for yourself, because I had a 1200 on the SAT. So clearly, we are not the same. You guys, I do not remember the Black community calling some sort of press conference to say, yes, our brand is illiteracy and low expectations. Actually, no, that's not true. Then again, that is kind of true if you're Black and a Democrat. Like those characteristics absolutely do go together. Remember, y'all the ones out here begging for DEI and lowering the standards, and losing weight is racist, and the diet don't work for you like it does everybody else the same. Y'all created this. This is y'all's fault. So honestly, I'm not even mad at Gavin, because we already knew that he wasn't that bright. Y'all, this is what Democrats do. Every time they want to prove that they're down for the program and power to the people, they start cosplaying as dumb. Except in Gavin's case, he really is dumb. Like, this is not an act. This is his authentic self, and he is fully functioning in it. They don't say, I'm like you. I work hard. I build. I lead. I provide. I'm innovative. I'm creative. No. The white liberal will go straight to I'm just like you. I struggled. I'm slow. I can't read. I keep my head down, feeling inferior about myself. I lived on frozen lasagna. I'm like, wow. Stouffer's lasagna and a 960 SAT. Homie didn't even break 1,000. So basically, you're like your own little Harriet Tubman with a trust fund, minus the head injury. And maybe you do have a head injury. I don't know. But here's the cherry on top, y'all. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens, bless his heart. I tell you, Black liberals are going to get a clue one way or another. But this man sat there and he laughed. He laughed like, ha, ha, ha. Yes, Governor, please continue to tell the world that the Blacks are low IQ mascots for your political brand. I have so many words for Andre, but Andre, you're like the human version of thank you, massa, right? Just jiggling and smiling and laughing while this man stereotypes the people that you claim to represent. This is why I can't take none of y'all serious. And this is absolutely why I have distanced myself from you people, because y'all are shameful and embarrassing. And y'all are going to let this man disrespect you right in your face. I'm telling you, and I told y'all, the Democrat Party, they don't see Black voters as citizens. You are a bunch of props to them. They don't bring any substantive policies. They bring performances. And then they expect you to perform, kind of like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion. Just shake your behind, because that's all you're good for anyway. They offer zero solutions. but they do offer you lots of pity and sad sob stories, and then you get a little side of plantation humor. Listen, if it wasn't for me being a Christian and knowing Jesus, I probably would have cussed Gavin out. But here's what the scriptures say about this: a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. And Gavin, honey, boo boo, you expressed a whole lot in your conversation with Andre Dickens. So, you guys, today we're going to talk about what relatable looks like to Democrats, because their version of respect is absolutely representative of straight up contempt, and they keep telling you exactly what they think about you. I don't even want to waste any time. Let's cue up the video. If you haven't heard by now, Gavin Newsom showed his whole entire tail and did what the white liberal does best: demonstrate their low expectations for the blacks, and how you're nothing more than a bunch of political props to them, and that they don't see you as equals, but believe that they need to come down, lower themselves in stature and in intellect and in sophistication, just so they can identify with you so that you can connect. So let's listen to Gavin Newsom attempt to relate and connect on a real intimate level. And you guys, this is comedy gold. Let's take a listen.
You know, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy. and, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech, because I cannot read a speech. Maybe the wrong business to be in. My dyslexia, I haven't overcome dyslexia. I'm living with it. I was the guy in the back of the classroom and my head down, just praying the teacher didn't call on me. I went through, I think I lost count of how many schools I had to go to. And, I'll never ever forget. My mom's choice was never to label me. She just had to struggle with me. And I walked in, I'll never forget this. It was probably 8th or 9th grade, walking home, got home early. My mom was always working, so, I'm cooking, literally lived on Stouffer's lasagna, macaroni and cheese. I got finished, 2 pots of macaroni and cheese and got bored. And I went upstairs and there was a file cabinet open and it said Gavin. In fact, she had a weird name, Gavinsky. That was like my nickname. And I opened it up and it was all of these reports from the doctors. And I never realized I was going after school 3 days a week. I didn't know what for. And it was all around. It was the lisp and the reading, the B's and the R's were backwards, spelling witch, W-I-C-H, or, the whole. And I'm like, what is this? And that's when I learned I had, quote unquote, dyslexia. My mom was furious because she didn't want that to limit me.
All right. So, yeah. All right. So I took some notes because basically we just heard, let me make sure we're understanding you correctly, Gavin. Now you're not black, but you definitely are slow. You grew up in an unstable home. You're dyslexic. So should we assume that you had the equivalent of what would be an IEP? You grew up on processed food because your mama wasn't cooking home cooked meals for you. 'Cause I guess black folks, we don't eat food from scratch. We're intimately familiar with processed food, especially the mac and cheese. I was waiting for him to say we ate fried chicken every night. I'd be like, well, now you really cooking with some grease now, Gavin. He then talks about, I'm assuming you didn't mention a father. So fatherless with no daddy, right? Okay, that checks the box. Language barrier, and I don't know what else. What else do we have here? you had some sort of clinical diagnosis because you was snooping and found in the file cabinet all of these reports. So speech impediment and the lisp. Now I'm not surprised about the lisp because most homosexuals do kind of talk with this little sassy kind of little lisp in their voice. So that explains a lot. I mean, y'all, this video of Gavin attempting to demonstrate to black people that he's just like them, it really exposed a lot. And it confirmed a lot that we already thought about him. Now, we already believed that he was absolutely slow and low IQ. I believe that. He's Democrat. But the lisp, I didn't see the sassy tongue, the lisp part, I didn't see that part coming. So I'm like, okay. Well, here's the thing. Gavin Newsom and white liberals like him. Let me first start off by saying this. Andre Dickens should be ashamed of himself for sitting there and not pushing back on Gavin and allowing him to just go on and blow bait and demean in all the ways that he is just like the blacks. If I were Andre, right now, Andre's a politician. He is the mayor of Atlanta. After Gavin would have finished giving us this laundry list of deficiencies that he is apparently saying, this is how black people are and this is who you are. If I were Andre, I'd be like, wow, that's so strange, Gavin, because my SAT, I mean, I scored pretty well on the SAT, 1350 or whatever your SAT score is, Andre. You should have used that as an opportunity to dry snitch on your SAT scores. And perhaps, Andre, if you grew up in a two-parent household, you'd be like, you know what? It's weird because I like, maybe you don't know who your daddy is. I know who my father is, and I was educated in this way. And I always aspired, I always strived to be the best me, even though life may not have been perfect, even though there may have been this deficiency or that deficiency. Gavin, what makes black people so amazing is that we always strive to rise above, regardless of our circumstances. But it seems like you are kind of real comfortable just being mediocre. You're running a state, the state of California, that seems to be struggling with the basics. Like y'all can't govern, you can't keep your streets clean, right? You can't keep, basic things that other states are able to do well. It seems like y'all are struggling. Like y'all can't put out forest fires. You can't, keep the fire department well staffed and competent to know how to put out a fire. You're struggling with crime. It seems as if all of these deficiencies that you had growing up have followed you into adulthood, Gavin. So tell us, tell the people, why should we vote for you if the expectations for yourself are so low and you've done nothing to improve your status in life other than being white and liberal? I don't know. I'm assuming that this is how I would have responded, but hear me clearly, you guys. I'm actually not offended at all, and let me explain why. I have spent an incredible amount of time on this platform trying to help people who look like me understand that white people are not the standard. And there's no reason for you to look to them as the standard to compare yourself to. So, for example, when people talk about white supremacy, in order for white supremacy to be real, you'd have to acknowledge black inferiority. For the liberal, the white liberal and the black liberal alike, the reason why they acknowledge those categories because they believe them. Gavin Newsom, as a white liberal, absolutely does believe that he is superior to black people. But in this moment, he wanted to take this as an opportunity to lower himself down from the standard of what white supremacy allegedly is. And he lowered himself so that he could relate to you. But in essence, with him lowering himself, he exposed the straight up contempt and the low expectations that he has for black people. He literally just said, I'm just like you. We're not different. We're the same. Y'all dyslexic. You grow up in unstable homes. Ain't no daddy around. Processed food is all you know. The mac and cheese, the Stouffer's lasagna. You're slow. You got speech impediments. I mean, I'm like, good gracious, this explains a lot. The man said, I am just like you. I got a 960 SAT and I can't read. So he's essentially saying that he believes blacks inherently are unintelligent, they are low IQ, they can't compete on the basic level like everyone else, and so therefore your SAT scores are low too. You're struggling. No daddy in the home. Did I mention that part? Like all of these stereotypical things that they believe about black people. Is it no wonder that they believe voter ID is racist? Because it is a point of contention for them. They would have to acknowledge that we are capable of doing the basics, but because they don't believe that is why they would posit the position of, if we ask black people to show an ID to vote, that is racist because they're incapable of doing these basic things. I mean, the governor of California, for heaven's sakes, he's just like the blacks. He's low IQ and slow too. That's why he doesn't read speeches, because he can't read. Can't read that good. Listen, here's my message simply to Black America. This is why I'm always telling you, reject DEI. You should reject DEI for the simple fact that this man and people like him believe that you are incapable of earning it, so they must lower the bar and the standard for you. That is insulting. A 960, no shade. If you barely scored 1,000 on the SAT, it is what it is. But notice how he felt the need to minimize and lower himself so that you could feel just as inferior as he's trying to make himself appear to be. He is telling you, I'm just like you, except I'm not black, but I'm slow, unintelligent, low IQ, unable to function in my freedom because I had a list. My SAT score was low. I mean, it doesn't get any more racist than this. However, y'all, I'm not shocked. I am not shocked or surprised that this is the direction that conversation was going to go in. And I'm also not shocked or surprised that Andre Dickens didn't push back and those black people clapped. Because I keep telling y'all, Democrat politicians are masters looking for some slaves, and Democrat voters are slaves looking for masters. And Andre Dickens sat on that stage looking at his master with glee in his eyes and smiled and didn't push back, because he has already, with his actions and his silence, acknowledged that he takes a subordinate position to a man like Gavin Newsom. And this is why white people like that will never respect someone like an Andre Dickens, because he should have checked them to his face. I don't give a darn that you're a Democrat just like me. Let me tell you. Okay, since you think you want to act like a Negro, now I'm about to tell you about yourself. I would have dry snitched and said, no, 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 Gavin, we're not the same. I don't 960. Sounds like you were really struggling and had a hard time. Yeah, but it's offensive for you to assume that black people are unintelligent with low IQs, that are dyslexic, with learning disabled, and everybody just grew up on processed food and lack nutrition. I didn't grow up that way. So you're going to have to come up with some other standard of relatability, because we're not a monolith. Now, sadly, I just said that black Americans are not a monolith, but black Democrats are. Black Democrats are a monolith because they have to cling to the group. Because if they didn't cling to the group, they wouldn't be Democrats. To be a black conservative or an independent, or to identify as a Black American in this country and to not be a Democrat, it requires authenticity, individuality, and courage. This is why I'm always saying that if you are a Black man and you are still voting Democrat, you are weak and you are absolutely gay. Because there's no way I would have let that man sit there in my face. Andre, you let that man disrespect you in your face. You didn't check him. You didn't assert yourself to distinguish yourself from what he was describing. You made yourself look small, and it confirmed what we already believed about Gavin Newsom, that he absolutely is stupid. The results and the outcomes of the state that he's been leading already affirmed that. But we're just glad and we appreciate that he articulated himself so masterfully to tell us that he can't read and that he's slow. I mean, he's basically short bus slow at this point, and it made sense. It made absolute everything about what California has been going through makes sense now, and I'm just glad that he told the truth and let us all know. So, you guys, I wanted to react to this. I didn't have outside of listening to what he said, I wrote down some notes. Blacks are slow, we can't read, we in and out of schools, we struggle, we eat processed food, and we just watched the mayor of Atlanta laugh. Absolutely weak. You let him emasculate you. While he was making a fool out of himself, he emasculated you because you didn't assert yourself and make it clear, undeniably clear, that you are nothing like that. And that, I would say Gavin need to watch himself, but he doesn't. This is par for the course for white liberals and for Democrats. I keep telling y'all they're the same party, they've not changed, but y'all don't believe me. This is what they think about you. Now, to be fair, who cares what they think about you? The question is, what is it that you think and believe about yourself? And why would you give someone that views you in this way your vote? Y'all are so mad and angry and continue to call Donald Trump a racist. I'd be curious to know if Sonny Hostin's going to call out Gavin Newsom and acknowledge that this was racist. Probably not. But Donald Trump is out here trying to say, listen, we're not focused on oppression. We want to focus on the victory and the triumph and all of the accomplishments that Black people have done, while the Democrats are out here wanting you to focus on how at the bottom you are because you're deficient and you're inadequate. And basically, you just Black and slow. There's no other way to describe it. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys think? Are you shocked that Gavin just kept going and digging a hole for himself? Or are you more shocked that the mayor of Atlanta, Andre Dickens, sat there and just let him continue and didn't challenge or push back at all? I already knew that this is what the white liberal thought about Black people. I'm just so glad they said it out loud. This is up there with that Joe Biden quote. This actually might be worse than what Joe Biden said when he said poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids. This is probably worse than that. Poor kids. Basically, white kids are not poor, but you Blacks are definitely poor. But y'all are just as smart and bright as the whites. This is now the reverse, where you have a white liberal asserting that, I'm not better than you. I'm just as Black and slow and low IQ, just like you. So, but you guys, seriously, leave me a comment down in the box below. Were you offended, or you're just so happy that he was honest and said the quiet part out loud? And do you believe that these comments are going to impact Gavin Newsom's opportunity to be a viable 2028 presidential contender? Or if you're like, no, Black Democrats love their master so much, they love their dirty draw so much that they are going to vote for Gavin and vote blue no matter who, because him didn't mean it. Him didn't mean it, and he was just trying to relate, and him misspoke. That's all. Him misspoke. But whatever it is that you guys think, leave me a comment down in the description box below. So until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.